What's going on, everybody? It's Dan here, back with another Moonshine talking. Welcome aboard. It's a Tuesday. It's a rare Tuesday off for me. I did a little horse trading at my job to get the night off because tonight I am going to see Gatecreeper at the Orpheum in Tampa, here in Tampa. They are playing with Frozen Soul, which I'm starting to learn is a very divisive band amongst people, and they're playing with another band, Worm. Worm I like. They have a I like the look that they got going on, the atmospheric death doom thing that they got going on, and I enjoy their stuff. It's going to be cool to see them live. I've missed them a few times. I'm usually it's either been I'm out of town or working, or they're too far away for me to go check out. So it was cool. I was already excited to see Gatecreeper. I enjoy their stuff. I thought their album was pretty good. Their brand new one that they're out doing a tour supporting, and I imagine they'll probably be good live. They'll bring a lot of energy, and then to see that Worm was opened up for them was cool. And Frozen Soul, they'll be decent. I think it'll be fun to see them. I know they get a lot of hate and a lot of people really don't like them, but it'll be cool to see them, especially in a smaller club. The last time I saw them was when they opened for Amon Amarth, and that was at more like a mid-sized. They played in a they had half of a basketball stadium. It's called the Sun Dome here in Tampa, but they had half of that partitioned off, and they had the stage set up and doing all that. So that's kind of like the last time I saw them was opening for them. Excuse me. But anyhow, the reason I'm here today is because I wanted to do a album review, another album review, and we're gonna do it on the latest album from God Dethroned, the Judas Paradox. This one came out last week on Reigning Phoenix Music, same label that put out Deicide's latest album. They did Sebastian Bach. They got a couple other things that are coming out or that have come out, but those are probably the only ones of note to me at least. I know a lot of people don't like Sebastian Bach. If that's a little too light on the light side of music for him, but I enjoy Skid Row, and even though I haven't picked it up yet, I'm still interested to hear and see how he sounds after all these years. But anyhow, I put off doing a review on this even though I had heard it because I'm trying not to get lazy and just do reviews based on stuff that I don't have physical copies of. The one main exception being the Deceased album that I just did because I do have that on order. I'm just waiting for it. It's delayed because some of the other stuff I got is delayed, so I'm waiting on that to for Hells to ship all that out to me, and then it'll get here when it gets here. But that's another killer album. And speaking of stuff I reviewed but didn't have copies of, but do now, check it out. Just got the new Fulci in, so I'm very excited about that, having a copy of that. I was gonna get the CD, but I guess I waited too long, and then they had the LP, so I said, screw it. I enjoyed the album, so it's cool to have, and I mean, it's killer cover. I mean, definitely something that's vinyl worthy. Definitely one of the better albums I've heard this year, as far as in that style of music. But anyhow, so that's that. So as far as the album, I don't really have to go into a huge history lesson about God Dethroned. Everybody knows who God Dethroned is. If you're listening to this channel and you're familiar with the type of music I listen to, then you already know all about God Dethroned. Uh, this version of the band it's the same one as Illuminati, the same band that they had with Illuminati, minus they replaced. I'm going to try to pronounce his name properly. Michael Vanderplicht. He was on drums, and they replaced him with Frank Skilperort. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. And otherwise, he's on drums. Yaron Pomper's on bass. Dave Meester's on guitars, and of course, Henry Sattler is the only original member of the band left. He does vocals, guitar, writes a lot of the lyrics, does a lot of the music. Um, This one's good. I would give it a 3 out of 5 on my stank face meter. which eventually I'm going to create a little graphic that I can put on the screen here. But it was decent. It's definitely not the best thing of theirs that I've ever heard. I mean, definitely a lot of their earlier works because I got into them when I heard a compilation album from Metal Blade and they had Grand Grimoire on it. And it was cool because it was lyrics based on the movie Warlock, if you're familiar with that one, with Julian Sands and Laurie Singer from Footloose and whatever else she was in. And so I got into them through that and then started collecting their stuff. And I would say probably everything up until Lair of the White Worm. And I'm probably getting the dates and all that incorrect, but I think most all of that is essential. Some people might disagree, but that's the beautiful thing about music is, opinion is subjective. You don't have to agree with me, disagree with me. That's fine. It's not going to ruin my day or I'm not going to be crying in a corner or anything. You have to excuse me. I'm a tad distracted because I'm also getting ready to hit the gym, so I'm getting ready for that. But anyhow, it starts off with the title track, Judas Paradox, and that was kind of a bold choice to me just because it's a little bit on the doomier side. A lot slower, definitely not blasting, which is kind of a trademark of a God Dethroned song. Lots of blasting drums, which you get a lot of on here. Frank, he does a great job. Lots of incredible musicianship and leads. Very very well done. But I probably would have put this on a different. I'd have put it a different spot on the album if it was made just because it would seem like hit the ground running right out of the gate would have been the best thing to do to really get people hooked in. But it was cool. It's a cool song. It's not my favorite on the album. I would say probably when you get into the middle of the album, that's really when the thing starts cooking up a little bit. Because Rat Kingdom's good, The Hangman's good, but then when you get into the middle with Asmodeus and Kashmir Princess and Hubris Anorexia, The Eye of Providence and Hailing Death, those are all, that's just like that whole section of the album is killer. I would say Hailing Death and The Eye of Providence are probably two of my favorite songs on the album. Uh, War Machine, it kind of closed out a little weak, but it's not a terrible song, but it didn't have the punch that I thought it would to close out the album. So I don't know, maybe if I'd have one criticism, I'd say maybe that the way the tracks were set up on the album. I don't know if they had a real I don't know if they had a real plan or concept for the way they were doing it, but it just seemed like that would have been one you could have kind of buried in the album somewhere in the middle where by the time you got to the end and you got to the more solid, more killer stuff, people would have forgotten about it. And I don't know, maybe it would have made people think like, oh, it's like this album's so amazing because you forget about it, and then you go back and you listen to it. Oh yeah, that one was kind of like that one wasn't so great, but. I'm not here to bash him or anything like that, but just my opinion, my honest criticism. But yeah, this is a good one. Again, 3 out of 5. Lyrically, it's interesting. They stick with the conspiracy theories and things of that nature. They get into especially with hubris, anorexia, which I thought was kind of was interesting. Was Henry was talking about getting sick from getting certain medications that you're really not allowed to talk about, and he got really ill from that because he wanted so much to start playing shows again, and it was kind of required. So he went and did it, and then he got really ill, but he's doing better now, which is cool. So he did a song based on that, and all the shutdown stuff and all that sort of thing. So that was an interesting topic. Uh, Hailing Death is about crossing the river Styx. Really, really cool. The Judas Paradox, basically delving into the concept and the theory that Judas was a patsy in the death of Christ. So I thought that was an interesting one. And then a bunch of other stuff like that. A few more songs related to the story of Judas, and Yes, that's that. But definitely, like I said, I would say probably Hailing Death, Eye of Providence, Asmodeus, Cashmere Princess, Blackheart. Those are probably the strongest, most solid tracks on the album. As far as how I'd rank it for the year, it's it's probably in the right now. I'd say it's probably in the lower half of stuff that I've enjoyed this year. I would say as far as especially death metal or black metal or anything of that nature, it's not high up on my list. I think Nile, Deceased, Vincent Crowley Band. There's definitely a few more. Even I would say the Fulci. There's a few more that have definitely they've they floated my boat more than getting my goat, as it were. To speaking of Vince, but yeah, so that's that. So, but it's cool. I would pick it up, especially if you're a huge God Dethroned fan. You'll enjoy it. There's plenty to love on it, and if you're a completionist and you need to pick it up because you've got everything else of theirs, then of course, definitely go get it. I mean, it's not a disappointment if I could spit that out by any stretch of the imagination. It's just to me, it wasn't their greatest work, but it's also they've been around forever. So I would imagine at a certain point you start trying to keep things fresh and everything. I imagine it could get tough, but I honestly I wouldn't know because I'm someone who's been in a band for 20 plus years. So how would I know? I'm just some idiot who's sitting there talking into a camera and babbling and got dropped on his head a bunch of times. But yeah, that's that. So speaking of, not really speaking of, but I'll mention it now while I'm thinking about it. Saturday night, 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would technically it'd be Sunday, 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time because I'm on the East Coast. Myself, Trevor from Fumes of Hatred, and Scott from No Solution, both really good YouTube channels. We're gonna do a live stream thing together, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna do wrestling talk. I know a lot of people watch my channel. They're not, too heavily invested in the wrestling talk stuff. But we're just going to talk about a bunch of stuff. We've been planning and trying to do stuff, just trying to coordinate times and dates. And because he's on the Pacific Northwest, and Scott, I believe, is in the Midwest. So it's just kind of hard. And then everybody's got jobs and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard trying to wrangle everybody and get everybody together on the same page at the same time. So we finally figured something out. I think it should be going good. From what I gathered, Scott got sick. He went to go see AEW. He went to go see All Out or All In, one of the All something or other pay per view events, and he got sick because he was around too many people, I guess. So the laws of probability caught up with him as far as that goes. So hopefully he's healthy enough to do the thing. But so far, it's tentatively scheduled for Saturday, Sunday morning, 2 a.m. We're going to do it live then, and then it'll be available for everybody to watch, and I'll probably share it on my channel and do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so that's it. So go check it out if you want. Hear us babbling about wrestling and whatever topic comes to mind. We'll do that, and it should be a fun hang. It should be kind of a cool conversation. So if you wouldn't mind, it'd be kind of cool to see people checking that one out. But if not, that's cool too. I understand. People got lives and things to do. They got better things to do than sit in front of the camera and watch a bunch of people babbling into webcams and online about various topics of degrees of interest that are questionable. But anyhow, I'm speaking of babbling. I'm just babbling. So anyhow, as always, gang, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck your chin upon impact. Don't forget to breathe. Everybody have a good one. I'm gonna babble here for about 20 seconds because I think they do that thing with the YouTube and they put the channel name and the recommended video or the two recommended videos and all that. It's just a stupid thing that they just cover you as you're talking and you're trying to close out your video, and it's a really dumb thing. So I'm just gonna sit here and babble for a few more seconds, and hopefully that takes care of that. And then that's how we're gonna end this one. Later, guys.